Willkommen, bienvenue, welcome one and all to another live stream with the incomparable, incandescent Sally Inkster of Find Brand You. Sally Inkster is a lady who's dedicated the last portion, the most recent portion of her life, to helping people find out who they are, making sure other people understand what that is, and most importantly, why they do it. Today, we're talking about another aspect of branding, and this is all about image or reputation. What the hell do we mean by this, Sally?
Well, it's a little bit like chicken and egg, I think. Which one comes first, and is one more important than the other, and how do they support each other or not? Okay, so reputation is what we used to have when we were in an office. And we were in an office and there were 30 workers and everybody knew that you liked the pink cup, that on a Tuesday you'd always be in a bad mood, and on a Friday you would always bring cakes. That was sort of your reputation. Okay, so people understood you because they'd worked with you for a long time, they chatted to you, and they had a relationship with you.
It's the sort of stuff that they knew that you habitually do, right?
Yes.
And kind of the way in which you portrayed yourself to the world over time.
Yes. And I think also in the office, they got to know the good bits and the bad bits and everything about you. And if you were quiet and you didn't really join in, then they made up their own mind. They say, well, she's awkward, or, you know, she's moody. And so they would make up a reputation about you that may or may not have been true. And that is exactly the same as happens online.
Worse.
Yeah, worse. Because everybody has a personal brand, but if you don't control it yourself, then all hell can break loose, basically, because people make up their own minds. And so a lot of people often say to me, why do you do so much about style and image in your brand when I do their personal brand? And I say, because it's so integral to what your personal brand is. Because I used to work years ago for the job centre, and the job centre employed me as a stylist to go and help people understand what sort of clothes they should wear for an interview, which was really interesting because you've got all kinds of different people coming. But I used to say to them, when you go into, because they used to say, do I have to bother to dress up? Because, you know, I'm just me. And other people say, shall I borrow my dad's suit? And I'm going, what's the job you're going for? And he goes, winter cleaning. And I'm going, no. So you have to dress appropriately for the job you were going for. But you had to look the best you could for that. Because I say, as you walk through that door, your panel of 3 judges, or whoever they are going to make initial a judgment about you.
Whether you like it or not.
Whether you like it or not. It's nothing that they do wrong. It is because it's our old brain that still works. Our old brain wants to keep us safe. So every time it's looking, it's making judgments left, right, and centre. Okay?
Is that to do with fight or flight and things like that?
It is to do with fight or flight. Absolutely, because we used to have to keep ourselves safe from tigers and wolves and bears. We don't have to do that anymore, but our old brain doesn't actually know that. So I want you to imagine if you walk into a room and there's a picture on the wall that's skeweth. Yeah?
Or do I have to imagine that is the most irritating thing in the world?
Exactly. So you have to go and straighten it, don't you?
Yes, absolutely.
It's exactly the same with clothes and how you present yourself, because your body is your body. Doesn't matter what size, shape or form it comes in, but how you dress it will alter, either to improve or make worse, the balance of your body. So when people see you, if that body is out of balance for whatever reason, if the clothes aren't in balance on the body correctly, if the colours are the wrong colours on that person, or even if the clothes are the wrong clothes for who they were expecting to walk through the door, they make a judgment, and it will be a negative judgment. And I would say to my clients, so when you walk in there, if you make a negative first impression, that judgment is wrong, you will have to say ever such a lot of good words for them to change their mind. If, on the other hand, you walk in looking quite good and that judgment goes, yeah, okay, you can actually talk a bit of nonsense before their judgment will go down.
Really?
Yeah. Because you've made that initial assumption.
And it's really hard. It's traditionally really hard to change those initial assumptions, aren't they?
The thing is, we're nice people, aren't we? We don't, on the whole, people don't want to judge people. They'll go, oh, well, I'll give him a chance because he might be nice. Yeah. So that's what our human nature does. But our old brain makes us judge. Nothing we can do about it. So you are far better, especially when you're online or networking, is to look as good and as balanced, which is the important thing. It's that balance as you can when you go out into the world. That picture that's on the wall, it was Skew with. It doesn't matter whether it was a portrait, watercolor, or oil painting. Makes no difference. Doesn't even matter if you like the picture. That isn't the issue. The issue is whether that picture is straight. It's the same with our clothes. People don't have to like your clothes. You know, they may not wear them. It may not be their taste. That doesn't matter so long as on your body, they're balanced.
Right. It's a hard thing to do, especially if you spent a lot of time dressing a certain way without realizing the effect it can have.
Yes. And so many people get it wrong. And women more, I think, will look in a mirror and go, ugh, I look like my mother, or I look like my grandmother. And they're just not happy with what they're wearing.
I've heard my wife say that more than once.
Exactly. And that's because they haven't got the balance right. Okay?
Right.
And that plays with your headspace, because if you're not happy with what you're wearing, let's say you're going out for a day and you're not happy, or you're going to networking and you're not happy with what you're wearing, you will fiddle and you'll mess around and you'll notice yourself and and it takes up headspace. When you have the right clothes on that are balanced, it doesn't mean to say they have to be the most expensive or anything like that. They're just balanced on your body. Then your headspace isn't used up by that, because you forget all about them. You just forget about the clothes and off you go.
Right. But it can affect your entire mood.
Oh, God, yeah.
I know it does me.
Yeah. Bad clothes can ruin a day.
Absolutely.
As I said to somebody yesterday on, I think it was on LinkedIn, I said, bad clothes can ruin a day. Good mindset can make a life.
Do you know what? It's quite interesting. I had something happen business-wise I was absolutely not prepared for, and threw me for a bit of a loop. And this was very recently. And I woke up in the morning feeling quite low and depressed. So I went in and I picked out my loudest bow tie and a bright, colourful shirt, and it lifted me like nothing else.
Yeah. Vitamins, yeah, definitely lift you. Because you were very right to do that. But lots of people would actually, if they were feeling down in the morning, they'd go to their wardrobe and they'd choose something dark and black and dirty.
Yes, I've even seen it happen when my wife feels depressed. She would dowdy, floppy clothes, no form and no shape, and so that she can hide inside them. And with me, if I'm feeling depressed, I try and wear something as bright and as dynamic as I can, because it makes me it feels infectious, and it feels like I've been infected with a bit of upbeat, you know,
like taking a dose of vitamin C.
Yeah. Because if I don't do that, then I'll just spiral down. I'll just don't feel like doing anything, and it does lift you. It does lift you. Really, joking aside.
Exactly, it does lift you, but it also lifts other people.
Oh,
so
right. Yeah.
When we go back to reputation, when you're online, if you've got good colours for you, not just bright colours, but if they're the right colours for you and you're looking good, other people will go, oh, You know, that's a put together in balance picture
Right.
on the wall.
Right.
Now I can decide whether I like that picture or not. I haven't got to worry about whether the picture is in balance.
It's stuff I never thought I'd have to think about, frankly.
No, well, that's because you're interviewing me on this podcast.
I mean, look, if I can only talk of my own self, so I have a very strong personal brand. I mean, it's you can spot it a mile off. The rest of it, you know, it's the bow tie, the hat, the silly facial hair, and the demeanor and the steampunkiness and all the rest of it. But it came about by chance. It wasn't. I didn't design it to be that way, but it's kind of coalesced together and become a memorable thing. Can you design a brand from scratch, or do you have to coalesce it from who a person is?
Well, you've put it into an absolute key. There is your personal brand will evolve, and when you're, as you say, over many years of trial and error. And that's fine, but it takes a long time. If you are in business and you are trying to identify your personal brand and it takes you 18 months, that is a huge, ridiculous time to be spending on it. So what I do with people is I've come up in system, and we can literally do it in hours.
Right.
And that's the whole thing. And style and colours and image, first impressions is a little bit of it. But we get that done in hours rather than months. And with some people who come to me and go, "Oh, I wish I'd met you 2 or 3 years ago," because
well, I hear about branding agencies spending 6 months or so trying to distill this stuff, and it always seemed to me that they could have at least gotten somewhere and then run with that.
Yeah, because once you've got, I mean, your personal brand and those things are so fundamental. They're so foundational to who you are, what you stand for, and how you help, and showing that to your potential clients. If you don't do that, you don't get the gig, basically.
It can be the difference. So literally the way you present.
Yeah.
I mean, as I said to you off air, I always taught that the first rule of marketing is that perception is 8 cents of the truth. If you dress almost to be almost magnifying your personal self-belief.
Yeah. And you can't lie about it, because you can't wear the wrong colours. So you can't be not authentic about it. You know, green suits me, so I can wear green. If I wore a different colour of green that didn't suit me, or black, I mean, black doesn't suit me at all, then I would look terrible. You know, and people come on and go, "Oh, Sally, are you sure you're up to doing this today? You're not feeling well."
Right.
That's not what I need. I need them to understand that, you know, personal brand is about your energy, and the best way to show your energy is with your colours and your health and your voice and your body language and how you come across.
Wow. It's such an interesting topic, because most people don't spend much time on that side of their presentation. They spend hours crafting a blog, or spend hours crafting a PowerPoint or something, to all colorful and all the rest of this stuff, but they don't think that you're the person who's part of that.
Yeah. Well, as you know, marketing, the whole thing is people buy from people.
Well,
and
course.
Unless they look at that person and they're balanced on that wall and they look good, you know, they're not going to. Yeah, you're not going out to buy a wonky picture, are you?
No, but it's so interesting. I've got a client of mine that when we live stream, she's developed a thing where she flops her red hair over one shoulder, puts on red lipstick, and that's her look.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
And then she stopped doing it, and I said, no, that was all part of it. That's the whole thing. That's how people will instantly clue in to who you are and what you represent.
Yeah.
So it's very important. So I'm going to ask last question before I'm going to ask you to just summarize.
Okay.
Can anyone find their brand colors? Can anyone find
Oh, God, yeah. Yes. Yes. Because you come down, there's various ways of doing it. One of the ways of doing it is you're either a summer, a winter, an autumn, or a spring. And you can do that online. There's loads of apps now where you can take a picture of yourself and the app will tell you, or you can go to a stylist. Obviously, a stylist is going to go into more depth and they'll say, well, you're a light winter or a cool winter or whatever. But an app will do the job for you if that's what you need to know. But people who are going out and making websites shouldn't be making websites with colours on their websites unless they've checked that they are their colours.
I think that's absolutely critical. I mean, my colours are purple and gold, and those are the colours I kind of stick with as my motif through things. Mm-hmm. But absolutely, I think it's super critical. Sally, would you just summarise our position?
Okay, summarise our position. So, image versus reputation. It's chicken and egg. If you want to have a reputation and you want to have the right reputation, so the right personal brand where you're perceived correctly as who you are for what you are, then you need to put across the image that is you. But that takes work.
Guys, you heard it here first. It does take work, but once you get there, you'll have something that's consistent. And dare I say it, can show up again and again throughout your posting on multiple sites, can show out in every aspect of what you do from a marketing standpoint or personal branding standpoint. Thank you once again, Sally Inkster, for the continuous education. We'll be here next week talking about another aspect of branding. But until then, I wish you all a wonderful week. I hope it's as sunny where you are as it is where I am. And of course, great mental health. Bye-bye now.
Take care. Bye.